Imagine, if you will, moving through the wilderness without being noticed. No bright gear, nothing flashy, no obvious footprints left behind, no sudden movements that might catch the eye. Just you, the landscape, and, well, the quiet skill of blending into the terrain around you. For combat scouts, survivalists and soldiers throughout history, this ability wasn't just a trick. It was, honestly, a life-saving skill. In wartime patrols, being seen first often meant losing the advantage. The men who mastered concealment could observe, travel and survive in environments where visibility meant vulnerability. Today, most people, rely on modern camouflage clothing or technology. But the truth is, the most effective concealment techniques are much older and far simpler. They rely on understanding how the human eye works, how nature looks from a distance, and how movement attracts attention. In this video, we'll explore the timeless techniques used by combat scouts and wilderness trackers to blend naturally into the terrain around them. Right, so first you need to understand the most important rule of concealment. Shape gives you away before colour does. The human brain is incredibly good at recognizing familiar shapes, especially the outline of a human body. A head, shoulders, and upright posture immediately signal person, even from far away. That's exactly why soldiers and scouts break up their outline whenever possible. Instead of standing tall against the skyline, they stay low. They crouch near rocks, trees, or uneven ground. Even simple things, like leaning slightly forward or keeping your profile irregular, can make your silhouette much harder to recognize. Next comes the principle of color blending. Nature rarely contains a single solid color. Forests, grasslands and mountains are mixtures of browns, greens, shadows and textures. Wearing clothing that matches these tones helps, but the key is avoiding anything that stands out. Bright colours, reflective surfaces and sharp contrasts draw attention instantly. Combat scouts often muted their gear with dirt, mud or natural materials to reduce shine and brightness. Even a clean metal object or a shiny watch could reflect sunlight and reveal someone's position. The goal is not to become invisible, it's to become uninteresting to the eye. Another crucial factor is movement discipline. Our eyes are naturally drawn to motion. Even the smallest movement in a still environment can attract attention from surprising distances. This is exactly why trained scouts move slowly and deliberately. Instead of walking quickly across open terrain, they pause often. They move when shadows shift or when wind moves leaves and branches. These natural distractions, they help hide their motion within the environment. A useful technique is called the step and pause method. Take one careful step, then stop completely for several seconds. Look and listen, then move again. This slow, patient movement blends with the natural rhythm of the landscape and prevents sudden, noticeable motion. Terrain itself also plays a major role in concealment. Experienced scouts rarely move across open ground unless absolutely necessary. Instead, they travel along natural cover, tree lines, rock formations, dips in the land, and patches of thick vegetation. These features break up visibility and provide shadows that hide movement. Whenever possible, stay in areas where the terrain naturally hides your shape. A shallow ditch, the base of a hill, or even tall grass can dramatically reduce how visible you are. Light and shadow are equally important. Standing in direct sunlight makes any object easier to see. Shadows, on the other hand, help blur outlines and hide details. That's why skilled scouts position themselves in shaded areas whenever possible. If you're observing from a concealed spot, it's best to sit slightly back from the edge rather than directly on it. This way, your body stays within the shadow, but you can still see the surrounding terrain, you know? Then there's the often overlooked element of sound discipline. Blending into terrain isn't only about being unseen, it's also about being unheard. Dry leaves, snapping twigs, or even a bit of loose gear can betray your position just as quickly as movement. Combat scouts learn to place their feet carefully, always testing the ground before shifting their weight. They make sure their equipment is secure and avoid brushing against noisy branches whenever possible. Silence becomes part of concealment. Finally, there's the mindset of patience. Blending into natural terrain isn't about rushing forward or forcing your way through the environment. It's about observing, adapting, and, well, becoming part of the landscape itself. The most skilled scouts don't fight the terrain. They move with it. They watch how shadows fall, how wind moves the grass, how animals behave, and how natural patterns form in the landscape. By understanding these patterns, they move in ways that feel natural rather than noticeable. In the end, blending into natural terrain is less about gear and more about awareness. It's really the art of understanding how humans see and using that knowledge to disappear in plain sight. And long before modern camouflage existed, this quiet skill helped countless scouts travel safely through dangerous ground, unseen and unheard. Even today, it remains one of the most powerful survival abilities a person can learn.